But it happens to the best of us, right?
Yeah.
All right, we're on. Let's see here. I'm really going to be pissed if my audio is messed up. So
it sounds fine.
It's
man.
not. I can hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, did you see the one Mike Soames came on and that pissed me off for whatever reason? I messed it up and all right.
I didn't like the way his voice sounded.
Did you sound girly?
I sound like an idiot, Haley. I thought so because the mic wasn't on the right way. I messed up the settings. And when I did that, I thought I sounded like an idiot. I already am an idiot.
Do you ever go back and like listen to your podcast and like hate the way you sound anyway?
I mean, sometimes I get bored, it'll pop up, but I don't know. Not really.
I have that like on like Snapchat or something. If they like pop up memories and I was talking on it, I was like, God, why do I sound like that? Like, it doesn't sound that way when I'm talking, but I listen to it and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah. Well, I think everybody like feels that way about like how your voice sounds when you actually hear it, and then you're like, oh, dude, I sound like an idiot.
Yeah, I was like, do I sound like that to everybody?
Like I said, I'm an idiot anyway, so I really could care less what. Like, if I could sound less of an idiot, yeah, sure, but
it's impossible.
It is. That's right. See, Coyd, Coyd's really good at being really nice, but he can throw in like these low key jabs on me.
Wait, I got something in mind for the podcast here.
I imagine. Hold on here.
Are you done tagging?
Hold on. Hey, man. I got
a bunch of people jumping on here.
I know.
It's probably because I shared it.
Yeah.
Dude, you did awesome on that.
Thanks.
Yes. All right. We got a lot of people.
Or it's just because I was just, a great athlete.
Hey.
People want to hear what I have to say.
Well, I think, this first part, there's going to be a lot. You saw what I put in there, so I think it'll be a good combo. All right, Coach Coyd.
Ready to get rolling?
I think we're ready.
All right. All right. So this is Beyond the Scoreboard podcast, episode number 32. We are back after a long break due to the holidays, so it's nice to be back on the pod here live on Sunday night. Couple shout outs real quick. We have to shout out our sponsors, AdCraft, with the shirt that I'm wearing here, the Beyond the Scoreboard t-shirt, and Fatleet has some gear for us as well. So again, as always, if anybody needs anything, let us know. We can hook you up. Get going. So we obviously have a guest here tonight. We have Haley Thomann. She is going to start off by giving a brief introduction of herself, and then we'll get rolling here. Let's go ahead, Haley.
Hello. Thanks for having me. I'm Haley Thomann. I was Haley Pulse when I was in Camanche. I live currently in just south of Riverside. I have a husband, Nathan, and 2 kids, Hattie, who's 2.5, and Wyatt, who is 8 months old. We stay pretty busy on our farm. We actually live in the house my husband grew up in, so I know a lot of people can't say that they get to do that. So we're pretty proud of that. And I work for the University of Iowa. Most of the time I get to work from home, which is pretty awesome. So that's me.
What's your position at University of Iowa?
So I hold a radiology license. So I'm a radiology tech, but I don't do patient care anymore. I actually work with the medical record system that we have. I kind of do like behind the scenes stuff. So a lot of computer techie stuff.
Sure.
Nice.
Dude, how great is it to work from home though?
It's great, but I will say my social skills have tanked a little bit. And I kind of don't like talking to people a lot anymore. But I think COVID kind of ruined that for me. I was in patient care in like the heat of COVID, and people were just mean. They were nasty, so kind of just burnt me out.
Yeah, I could see that with the Yeah, I would think like you think you're really social not going until you get that break.
Oh yeah.
And
I
then
was
you're
so outgoing and now I'm like a hermit.
yeah. Like you just hate people. You're like, yeah, I don't really want. I didn't want to go to the grocery store because I won't have to talk to anybody.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Someone messages me at work. I'm like, oh, what do you want? Like,
That's awesome.
they're like, I just need to talk to you about work.
Oh, I love it. That's Coach Coit at teaching every day. Like, dude, kids. Yeah.
It can get like that sometimes. Yeah.
Yep, I bet. So, all right. Well, should we dive on in? What do you guys think?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Haley, 3-sport athlete.
Yes.
Okay, if I remember right, yes, volleyball, basketball, softball.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I remember because my first year, I think, was your junior year when I was coaching.
I think that was right.
Yep. So did you guys go to state that year in volleyball?
Yes. And basketball.
And basketball. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So first question though, out of all those sports, favorite sport and why?
Well, that's kind of a 2-part question, I guess. So when I was in high school, my favorite sport was softball. I went on to play in college. I think if you would ask me now, looking back, I think my favorite sport would have been volleyball.
Really?
Yeah. Just after high school and like college, it was softball. It wasn't for me.
Oh, in college, was it?
No, I mean, it was great. Like, we did well. Just kind of like the mental load it takes on you. And yeah, my college coach was kind of not great. So
that experience there.
Oh, it was, terrible.
I got you. So
yeah.
That makes sense. That's interesting. Well, I guess I would have saw volleyball. Yeah. So my question is, with the sport, did you play basketball? Did you play basketball your senior year though?
Yeah, I played basketball my senior year.
I thought, okay. All right. I was thinking for some reason that year you didn't, but okay. That makes sense.
No, softball, I only played, like that summer after 8th grade, you can play because it's a summer sport. So I did that year. And then I stopped playing high school softball, and then I came back my senior year.
That's right.
So.
Okay, cool. So that was my next one. So I remember because that year, your senior year, I was the assistant.
Yeah.
I remember that. So Coach Coy, I was the assistant.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for you, Haley.
Hey, listen.
Did you know much about softball?
What's that?
Did you know much about softball?
Well, I'd always coached, baseball.
It's not the same.
I know it's not the same. Now, I never understood pitching, which we can get into that a little bit. I was a pitcher in high school, so I knew, but completely different arm motion, all that. But like hitting and fielding, yes, very similar. There's a lot of similarities, but there are things to learn from. But so that year, what made you decide to go out your senior year for school ball as opposed to like what you were doing prior to?
Yeah. So my senior year, probably just because like I graduated, I was ready, I was going to have fun. It was, it was going to be a great time. And I had already like committed to where I was going to play in college. So at that point, like I wasn't playing like the ASA or the travel ball, partially because I, was ready to play in college, but also like by the time you're in 18U, like you don't really have a team. So, everybody's kind of getting ready for college. So.
I wondered, right. So what was I know like kind of the difference. So at that time, was that super common for like you were playing the ASA? Was that probably at that time, 2007, 8, 9, 10, was that more competitive, you think, than like school ball?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I was playing in the Quad Cities, and like the Illinois side is way more competitive. They pretty much practice like all year round. And those girls in Illinois, their high school season is in the spring. Okay. And it's like a law in Illinois that they can't play, or it was, I guess, I don't know if it still is. It always was. They couldn't play high school and ASA at the same time, like during their high school season. Mm-hmm. And so like when they were in their high school season, like I was still, pitching and, all of that all the time. And I would find an Iowa team just to play with in the spring if they were doing tournaments. But yeah, there was just a lot more exposure than just high school.
See, I always kind of wondered that because I never I think back like Clinton, I don't think any of well, maybe that's why Clinton was so bad at softball. But you never heard of like Coit, she's the first one when she came out and I'm like, oh, this your first? She's like, my first year. I'm like, you've never played softball? She's like, no, I play and I'm like, I never heard of that with girls, even at Clinton doing that. They played school ball.
Yeah. I feel like it. I mean, I think there were teams, but since probably I'd say 2006 or 2007. It's maybe even a little before that. It's really kind of skyrocketed. So.
Okay. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we had a girl that played ASA instead of high school ball last year, the year before, but it's interesting you brought up the Illinois rule and how the competitiveness is better over there. Probably, and you hit it on the head because of in Iowa they're playing in the summer for school ball, so you might have girls or even boys that choose to play baseball and softball for their school team instead of going and playing for a travel team or something like that. So
yeah, because it gets to be a lot because you have those games. I mean, your high school games are during the week and you're playing 2 or 3 times, and then you'd play Saturday and Sunday in a tournament. It can be a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of softball and baseball for sure.
Yeah.
I got a question. So you went to Blackhawk College, right, for softball? So what kind of talk about how you balanced your softball life, your personal life, your academic life, and all that while you're going through school?
Yeah. So the first thing I'll say is I know I was talking about how my coach was just not great. The one good thing
I hope he's not listening.
Will say, what?
I said, I hope he's not listening right now.
It was a she, and she got shit canned, so she's probably not listening.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
That's fine. The one good thing I will say is she was so hard on us, with our academics. She always expressed, and I will still carry this, you're a student before you're an athlete. That's why they call you student athletes. Sure. So she really, really pushed that. That was number one for her. So she, I remember we would do study groups. We would come together as a team and we just sat there and we would do our homework, which kind of sucked at the time because you didn't want to sit somewhere with your whole team. You just kind of wanted to go and do whatever. So that kind of balanced itself. As far as personal life, I think I didn't like being away from home that much. So I was home every weekend.
Sure.
Went back to see my mom and dad. My mom would do my laundry. They'd cook me food. It was great.
Jeez.
Yeah. Shout out to Leanne.
If you can take advantage of it, I wish somebody at that when I was your age, I would have been getting meals cooked and laundry, but
Heck yeah.
There's a lot. Yeah. Jesus. Spoiled. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I got a bunch of stuff on here, so I want to make sure it kind of hit. So on the school, back to the it's ASA, correct?
Yeah.
So now though, 15 years later or whatever, it's been 14, 15 years. Is that even more common now? Or is it, are you seeing, would you say now, kids should be out for school ball? Is that more important now because of the exposure, colleges, all that? Or what?
I think if you can balance it, I think you should do both. If you're not going to get burnout, if you can handle doing all of it, it's just, you run the risk of getting burnout, but it's going to make you that much better. So if your goal and you want to play in college, I say do both. Sure. Honestly. My senior, I had so much fun playing my senior year, and maybe it's just because I already knew what I was going to do and I kind of just relaxed, but I had a blast. It was fun.
Sure. Little like, do you think it was more laid back? Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
you think
Yeah.
so? Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that. Well, it depends on who you have as coach. So
Yeah. Well, yeah. I was in like even that though, like I was more intimidated in my 8th grade year. I'll just say 8th grade. Because I pitched varsity. And the coach at the time, her name was Trina. I don't know I can't remember her last name. But she was like, yes.
Oh
And
my God.
She was tough. Oh, she was tough.
Who was the coach? Who'd you say?
Trina Reed.
Okay.
So it'd be,
Yeah.
Micah's.
Seaweed?
Yeah. Or that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah. I couldn't remember her last name. But yeah, she was tough. And like, as a little tiny 8th grader, you just want to do so well. So, I remember, I can vaguely remember I would pitch the JV game and then I would go to the varsity game. And I can't remember if I would start pitching or if I was at shortstop. I was either starting pitching or starting shortstop. And then at one point I would switch and either and it was a lot. And that was before they did doubleheader varsity games. It was insane. I actually like broke my arm that year, like diving for a ball. I remember I like fractured my arm and yeah. I mean, my parents didn't have any sympathy for me. So, it was fine until I couldn't carry my dinner plate.
Oh yeah.
Rob and Leanne, I hope you're listening.
Trina, that's interesting because Trina, so she was Miss Reed when I was there. I had her for PE one year, and I had her for like health class. She was. I will give you that all day.
She's intense.
She was tough. And Coach Coy, I'll throw this at, as a teacher, she was tough. Honestly, in my entire 4 years of high school, she taught health, and she was the toughest teacher I ever had.
Really?
Yes, like she and
I can see that from Trina. Yeah.
There was no, I'll tell you guys, you couldn't sneak nothing past her, and she'd call your ass out. And
yeah. I remember, I could remember at a practice. I was in the practicer right before a game, and she was hitting the grounders at us. And I had these sunglasses I would always wear because I was superstitious, always had to wear them. They were my favorite sunglasses. And I remember, I think I like missed the ball or something. And she was like chewing my ass about it, like in warm-ups. Yeah. And she hated that I was wearing sunglasses. And she literally took them off me and she broke them. Nice. Oh, I was so mad. So I was like, well, what? I'm not going to pitch very well now because you took my sunglasses that I always wear.
Did you make her buy you a new pair?
No, I was a scared little 8th grader. I wasn't going to say anything.
I've been like, hey, you're going to buy me a new pair.
Just tell my mom and dad.
Yeah, I'll tell my mom and dad. Yeah. Back then, your parents would be like, like you said, get over it. Now, that's probably a different story. Like now.
Oh, for sure. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of parents, I'm supposed to ask you from your dad. He wanted you to share the story about the time that he made you walk home from the softball field.
Yes. Again, something that parents won't do today.
Right.
This was like back when we lived in Lowmore. If you guys know a little town of Lowmore. Yeah. Lived there. And I don't remember how young I was, but I hadn't been pitching very long, maybe just a year or two. And we were down at the baseball field there in town, and we lived on the main street. So it was like 2 or 3 blocks. And I was pitching just terribly. He'd yell at me. I wouldn't listen. I'd roll my eyes, whatever. And the first thing he would always try to do is throw the ball as hard as he could at me back. Just whip it at me. And I catch it. Ha 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 ha. And I just pissed him off, and he freaking chucked the ball at the fence and he drove away. I had to have been like 12, not even 12, 10, 11, 12. And I had to walk home.
Where'd you walk home from?
The ball field. So it was like 3 blocks.
Oh my God.
Ugh. Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's some OG stuff right there.
That's awesome.
Honestly.
I know. He'd get so mad.
Well, I have well, like my son, he's 10 right now, and I've never made him walk home yet, but there's times where we've done stuff and he either is messing around or not listening. I'm like, I'm not gonna waste my time. Like you're the one that wanted to come here. If you don't want to get better, then we'll just leave and go home type thing. I've had to do that a couple times. So
Oh
but
yeah.
yeah, that's a total dad thing right there.
It was
So,
awful.
so kind of
It's only 3 blocks. It's all good. No
Yeah,
big
but when
deal.
you're like little, you got
Yeah.
little legs.
Yeah.
12. I mean, 12. You can stay home. I mean, hey.
Well, that's an entire town, a little more. 3
Yeah.
blocks.
I know. Yeah, it was like, yeah. Oh.
So for like both of you guys, let's use this scenario. So both of you guys, obviously being parents, would you guys do that today? Like I know Coach Coy, you haven't done that yet, and you're kind of like, but like Haley, like thinking back on that, like if your daughter pissed you off and you're like, get the F out of the car, and you're like, get out, like you can walk. Would you do that, or would you be like, man, I no?
I mean, I say that now. Like I could never coach my kids. I've already said that to my mom. I've said that to my husband. I'm like, I can't be the coach because I will be so mean. So I feel like when I say this now, I feel like I could do that.
Sure.
Because like my daughter's already like me. She's a little bit, her attitude's a little bit worse. But yeah. Oh yeah.
You think you could pull the strings?
Yeah.
I don't know if to answer that question. I don't know if I don't know. I'd have to answer to my wife on that. I don't know if she would be cool with that or not. But I mean, I guess it would depend on the situation and what he's doing or not doing, and maybe how old he is too. Like if he's doing that in high school or middle school, and yeah, like
Sure.
send him home. But well, I mean, like I said, I've used those examples, but like I'm coaching them in basketball. We're doing basketball tournaments right now, and we had one yesterday. And I told him, I go, he was bringing the ball up, and he kept picking the ball, his dribble up too soon. I go, next time you pick your dribble up too soon, you're coming out, you're sitting on the bench. I go, if you keep doing it, you're not playing. And then like the next time he did it, I took him out, and then he didn't do it the rest of the tournament. But I'm just like little things like that. I'm like,
sure. Yeah.
But he's figuring it out. He's doing good. So
I think you gotta be able to. I mean, I would think like, not have kids. If I like I'm with you, Haley, like the coaching part, like not wanting to coach your kids. Because I know this is like your first time kind of doing that because you're getting into stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm with you on that, Haley. Like I would never, I've always said that too. I'm like, if I ever had kids, I would never want any part of it because like, I don't want to feel like you're trying to live your dream through your kid. And you just have somebody else like, hey, if you're going to complain about something, like go talk to your coach, figure it out, go communicate. Like that would be hard. And I mean, maybe it's easier said than done, but I'm with you on the fact, like stay away from that. You could coach but your own kid.
Well, and I feel like it'd be hard to like leave it there and not bring it home. Because I mean, I remember having like yelling matches with my parents on the way home from tournaments. Well, why didn't you do this? And why you should have done that? It's like, well, yeah. So like, I think that just like even being able to like leave it there would be hard. Too.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's, but it also at the same time. So like I'm coaching Knox in basketball right now. And if I didn't do it, there would be no other parents stepping up to do it. You know what I mean? So then you also don't want, because I initially was like, I don't know if I want to coach him because I'm the high school football coach and he plays football in high school. He's going to be hearing my voice for so long. And then by the time he gets to high school, he's going to be like, dude, shut up. Like I've heard this so much, but like, but you also, he wants to do it. He wants to be part of it. And if no other parents are going to step up, then, I'm willing to do it. So I might as well do it so he can get an experience, so that plays a role in it too, so if your daughter's grown up and she wants to get involved, but there's no parents around that are stepping up, and sometimes you got to do it, like,
that
but hopefully it doesn't for you, but like, it's just one of those things too. So, but yeah, it's interesting. But then the really cool thing is, so like if you're if you're watching like a sporting event or something with them, or another coach says something to them and you are saying the same things to them, you can be like, hey, what did that person just say? And he's like, shut up.
Yes.
I know that's what you say, like, so,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So
I feel like with kids, like you could tell them, like as a parent, I'm sure you guys been through this, like you could tell them and they don't listen. And then it just takes one person that they have a different, it's not mom or dad, and they do it. And you're like, wow, that's weird. Like, that's what I find like now, like some of the kids, like even, sports, are just talking to them like at work and stuff. And I'm like, and their parents will say exactly what you're saying. Like, no, you remember hearing that from somebody, but it's like, they just defy the parents.
yeah.
But somebody else, they're like, oh, I like him. He's cool. Yeah, I'll listen to him. But they won't listen to mom or dad. It's like, what the, like, come on.
Yeah. Someday they'll appreciate their parents, like we all do now, right?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
We were probably the same way.
Yeah. I see. That's pretty. Like, Coy, did you ever have that? Like, were your parents like that with you in sports?
My mom was like pretty laid back and didn't really say much. My dad, on the other hand, was not laid back and would not keep things to himself. So yeah, we had some times where we maybe had an argument or two, but I mean, it wasn't anything to like, I mean, what he was doing is like trying to make me better and help me,
Sure.
It wasn't like he was like doing it to put me down or anything like that, but he's just an intense guy and wanted to win and was competitive just like me. So
yeah, tough love.
Things. Yeah, tough love, for sure.
But Haley, like when you say that about your dad, I don't remember him. I've always felt like he was quiet at the games and stuff.
Oh, well, you just need to hear him whistle one time and you'll know. Because that used to get under my skin so bad. He'd do it. We'd be in the gym, volleyball game, basketball game. Have a dumb foul and he'd whistle. And he's one of those, he can just like whistle with his teeth.
Yep.
Like he doesn't, or, that really loud, high pitched. Oh, yep. Yeah. Well, he'd do that. And I'd glare up at him and roll my eyes.
Oh, yeah. How do you not? I'd be pissed. And see, I never had my parents, my dad didn't live here. So it was just my mom. My mom, honestly, I'll tell you this, all the sports I played my senior year, she said to me one night after a game, I came home and she said, hey, what position do you play again? And I said, now, how many years have you been watching me? And I said, what position do you think I play? And she goes, well, you're the guy that gets the ball, the football. And I said, what? And she goes, yeah, the guy that gets the football. I said, there's a lot of people that get the football. She goes, the guy that throws the ball to people. I said, she didn't even know what position I played. Had no clue.
Oh, no.
No clue. Like she didn't have a clue, period. But I was okay with that because like I never, when my dad would come watch, when he would come back and visit, he would try to say stuff and I would be like, literally to him, I'd say, shut the hell up. Literally, I'd be like, dude, shut up. You don't even know what you're talking about, and end it. But like my mom, it was nice because I was just like, I got enough from my coaches, but I could see where like being an athlete and like having your parents, like you said, saying stuff to you all the time, like you probably get to some point where you're about, you're boiling.
No, yeah. It wasn't like that bad. Like they weren't like, it wasn't, it wasn't like that. It was like more just like pull your head out of your ass type of stuff. It wasn't.
Sure.
Yeah.
I got a story. So my dad it was more like his tone, when he was like saying stuff to me, and a lot of times it was like when I was pitching.
Sure.
And he, if I was walking some guys, he's, yelling the obvious things like throw strikes, like obviously I know I have to throw strikes here, but it's like just the tone and the loud and like just kind of like the tone of like disappointment, you know what I mean? And so my senior year, we had a new baseball coach. He was fresh out of college. Good coach. He's still coach there now. And he's my parents' next door neighbor. So like when I go back home, I see him every once in a while too. And there's one game where there is 2 outs and there's a guy on first, and I using my pickoff move and the guy goes to second, but our shortstop didn't cover the bag. So the first baseman didn't have anybody to throw it to. So the guy's safe. And then I ended up walking like 3 batters in a row. Gave up a grand slam, like just things just flew off the handle. So I'm obviously pissed, and then dad's chirping, and I literally told my dad to F off from the mound, and the coach, he goes, "You're still the only pitcher I've ever had tell their dad to F off."
Yes.
Just things like that. But no, I mean, it wasn't always like that. He just wanted me to be good and better, and
Yeah,
do
they
things the
just
right
want you
way,
to be good.
No,
Like,
looking
you're
back on it, that's what it was, I mean, at the time it would piss me off, but
yeah.
I was a high school kid, so yeah. But
That's awesome.
yeah.
And for some reason I can't see you saying
love you, Dad. I know he's listening, so
I just can't see you saying that.
I was Stinda, I'm pretty in high school my temper was pretty bad, honestly.
Was it?
Yeah.
Sure.
And then when things weren't going my way, then it got worse, obviously. But
sure.
And I can still get. I'm pretty competitive, so it's those juices come out. It's different.
Yeah, that's awesome. Hey, got to put them in their place sometime.
Yeah, for sure.
So kind of moving here, Haley, a little bit. So I had some stuff here. So Coach Coit, back when Haley was going through, I mean, you guys had girls were super successful. Like, I mean, you guys, about every sport, volleyball, basketball, tennis, track. I mean, you guys, and obviously, Coit, you guys are still 2A, correct?
We are.
Okay.
Well, boys are. Girls are 3A in softball and basketball. And I'm not sure about volleyball, but I know basketball and softball they are.
Okay. So I mean, like I think back to your era, Haley, like you had for a small school back then, a lot of the small schools were behind the curve because, like the weights and all that kind of stuff, it was hard to field a team. You just needed the numbers. But you guys had like for that area, the Clinton, DeWitt, Camanche, Northeast. I mean, even compared to some of the MAC schools, you guys had some of the best female athletes in that 4-year span, 4 or 5 year span. You got Bark, Gonzalez, Ashton, Chelsea Moore, Harkson. And I think people forget about that, like for the girls' sports for you guys, because coming from Clinton, I always thought I've told Coach Coit this before, like when I played at Clinton, like Comanche, we loved playing them because we knew we were going to throttle them. It was fun. But then when I came to coaching and then I started seeing the girls' sports, I'm like, holy crap, like it's not like they're like back in that time, like a lot of those small schools had a hard time fielding a team. So if you just went out, you probably started. But that was would you agree that was the opposite for you guys? Like your competition was you had a lot of really good, great female athletes that you had to compete against. And I think people forget that. So I guess my question is, how difficult was that? Like going in there knowing like, it's not just going to be something you're going to show up to and just play like, you're going to have to put the work, the time in, the off-season stuff. Like, how did you get that mindset where you're like, okay, this is not like a lot of these other schools. Like, I'm really going to have to earn this and earn the spot.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was great. I mean, playing with all of them, it was good. I think we all kind of brought something different to the table. And I'll just talk from playing like volleyball and basketball. We kind of actually all started playing together. I want to say it was like 7th or 8th grade. I remember Tiana and Chelsea's mom, both of their moms were our coaches. Okay. And we kind of did like a travel volleyball and, we'd go and we'd play and yeah, it was great. I mean, I think like establishing that kind of small group of us, like that young kind of helped because we all stuck with it. And then I think that kind of helped contribute to our success. Just kind of playing with each other for so long. And yeah, it was good. I mean, volleyball, especially, like I had a great time. I mean, there's nothing better than just going everywhere all around the conference and just kicking everyone's ass.
Yeah. And you guys
Yeah.
Like I said, you guys were stacked.
Oh, I remember, I want to say it was, oh gosh, now I don't know what grade I was in, but I remember we played like, I think it was East Central at Camanche, and I think Chelsea Moore served the whole game. Like one of them. Like it was great. It was awesome.
Yeah.
So
You guys, I will say, like, I just think back to seeing even at big school. I mean, you guys could have played at that era. I think could have played in a 4A school like Clinton.
oh
And
yeah.
I went through like Clinton female or girl or female athletics were doing pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
You guys could have easily started play there and been just as competitive as you were in 2A.
Oh yeah.
And
I mean too, like Mark Kramer was our coach. I don't know if either of you know him. I mean, he was tough. I mean, he was a hard ass, but I learned so much from him. I mean, I remember going in like my freshman year, and that summer we were doing 2-a-days. 2-a-days.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, it was great. I mean, by far he was probably one of my favorite coaches because I learned so much from him, but he also kind of was a coach that I like needed. Like he was tough, and he could just like look at you and you were like, oh crap, better pull my head out of my ass. Like, yeah. I mean, and he knows volleyball, and I know, he's, like I said, he's tough, but looking back, he was probably one of my favorite coaches in high school. Yeah. Oh yeah.
And you started all 4 years, didn't you, volleyball?
Yes, yeah. I did.
You got it done.
So what that made me think of something when you were bringing up the coaching there. So what kind of coach did you prefer? Like a coach that would be like Kramer, who was hard on you and like holding you accountable, or maybe a coach that's more laid back, but also is holding you accountable type thing.
Yeah. And I will say, like, different people like need different coaches, but yeah, I was definitely one of those that needed someone that was going to be not like, putting you down, yelling at you, but someone who was, going to hold you accountable. And yeah, just kind of really, really put you through it, I guess.
Sure. Yeah.
And I will say that too, like, I think too, not switching from volleyball, but like to basketball, my senior year, Danny Vogel was our coach, and he was the same way, not as like tough as nails, probably as Mark Kramer, but he was tough too. And like, for me, that's what I needed. Sure. And I think like my senior year was my best year of basketball. So like,
sure.
He kind of helped me. Him, and I mean Dieters too. Dieters was there the whole time. And he can really, get on you too. So that's definitely what I needed.
Yeah. Well, that's how usually they bring the best out of you then. If you
Depends on the kid though. Some kids don't respond well to that, but
for sure.
But yeah.
Well, so we'll kind of I'll skip kind of the bottom of that question. Rolls right into it. It's perfect. So for both of you guys, well, all of us, but whoever wants to go first, you kind of hit on it though, Haley. Like what does it take to be a successful coach? But more say for both of you guys, like what did you look for in a coach? And even for you, Coach Coy, like when you were playing as an athlete as opposed to you being a coach, what did you look for in a coach? What did you need from each sport that you play? What did you need from them for you to motivate you and put you to get to where you needed to be, if that makes sense?
Go ahead, Haley.
You want me to go first? Okay.
Yeah.
First, yeah.
Well, I mean, first off, like you need someone who's going to be like a strong leader. Yeah. And kind of just like inspire you and kind of motivate you. But then I feel like you also need a coach who's going to be like emotionally intelligent, kind of just like reading your kids and just kind of knowing what kind of like athlete and they are. But then, kind of what I was just talking about, like you kind of need a coach who can adapt well, because, someone like me who can take being yelled at and, stuff like that. Like there were other people I played with who could not handle that.
Right.
So, just being, not that that makes it okay. Like, oh, I can yell at this one, but I can't yell at this one. Like, I mean, you kind of just have to do what you have to do, I guess.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Got to kind of adapt to the
Mhm.
kid. Each kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty good explanation there by Haley. I mean, the accountability thing is huge, and then I think this is kind of speaking as a coach, but like I think like the relationship part is one of the biggest parts of it. I mean, obviously, you have to know your sport and like the basics and teaching the kids the stuff. Yes, but I just look back to when I played like football, my head coach I still communicate with to this day, and it's been 22 years since I graduated high school, and same thing with my basketball coach, still communicate with him. My baseball coach, like I said, he's my parents' next door neighbor, so like I still have, not every day, but I have communication with these guys, and I know there's a lot of high school kids or kids my age or people my age. I guess I'm not a kid, but people my age that have never talked to their high school coaches since the last time they played, um, so I think that's a big part of it, building that relationship and showing the kids that you care about them first, usually gets those kids, you get more out of them,
Yep.
in anything. And that's kind of what like I needed to in high school too. Like I knew Coach Allen cared about me and the other guys, so I knew I was going to play hard for him, because plus he held us accountable and taught us how to be good men too, not just good football players. So I would say that would be the key for me.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean,
what about you, Stenda? What did you need? What did you like?
I like your guy. I'm with you on the accountability part. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that was, I didn't really have. That was all I ever needed. Like I was the guy you could yell at, grab by the face, whatever. You know what I mean? That never bothered me. Like I would, like you said, you can't, like Haley, you mentioned it, some kids can't take that. You can't get in their face. You can't do that. You got to find different ways to get your point across. Where like me, like I'll say this, I'm like what Coach Coit was saying. I still talk to all of my coaches. I mean, I've drank beer with, I think, every single one of them except one of them, where, and I think it's one of those things like back to the accountability part where they, you look at it from the standpoint of, I mean, really in sports, like they're preparing you for life at the end of the day, like for the real world. And I think for me, like I had a very, very like the split household where I could have gone like a really bad path. And if it wasn't for honestly the coaches I had in high school, I don't even know if I'd be where I'm at today. I honestly could probably be in prison because I didn't have, split household. You just have a mom. Like I didn't have any direction. And so I longed for like somebody being like, hey, you dumbass. And literally saying that. And I'm like, oh yeah, like, not shifting the blame to somebody else. And that carried over into my adult life because I've always been able to take the criticism, or if my boss says, hey, you F this up. So that for me was just the accountability because I didn't really have that. I had to do it on my own. It's like, that's hard to do as a kid because you really don't know, so I'm kind of just on the accountability train where it's like, yeah, if they could hold me accountable, like it helped me short term and then long term. So I think accountability.
And I feel like that's kind of like some of the problem, like today. Like I feel like you can't yell at any kids today. And like, I'll kind of echo what you said. Like, I had Mark Kramer and like even my college coach, like it was, not a great experience. She was kind of, she'd yell a lot. I'll just put that nicely. But like prepared me for, the rest of my life. I can handle someone, telling me, hey, you screwed up, and I'm not going to be offended by it, So, but yeah, I feel like you can't totally do that today.
Yeah, I mean,
well, you could probably get into that a little bit.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, I think
Sorry.
no, I think you're part. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you because I mean, I've been an assistant coach with some coaches that they yelled a lot, and it usually goes in one ear and out the other eventually with a high school kid, and I'm not like a yelling type of coach, but it's when it needs to be done, I do it. And I think that's when you get the response. If you're not doing that every time, then once you do it, they're like, oh, okay, well now this is serious. Like let's we gotta get our heads out of our ass and figure out what's going on here. So you don't like to get to that point, but sometimes you have to, and I think if it goes that way, then the kids respond to it better. But yeah, like your college coach, you said yelled a lot. So you probably, I'm sure after the first month of the season, you're probably like, oh my gosh, she's yelling at us again, and it just,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
you're not even listening to what she's saying because it happens all the time,
Oh yeah.
and it could have been something good, but you weren't listening. You know what I mean? So like
Mm.
that's not a good approach in my opinion, but so I would agree with you in that, yes, but there can be times, and there also are. You have to know, like I know which kids I can like really get into, and I know which kids I can't. They're not going to respond to it,
Yeah.
And I don't think some coaches don't know that, or they just this is how I'm going to do it and don't care, type thing. So that makes a difference too. So I guess yes and no for that question, but yeah.
I'm with you though. Back to Haley, I'm with you on it though. Like I don't know. Yes, Coy, you're speaking on it because probably the way you're probably really good at each kid individually, like you said, knowing them. You've got a good relationship with them on and off the field. That probably goes a lot into probably these coaches that can't do the things you're talking about, Haley, now because they maybe haven't built those relationships with those kids and set boundaries. Because I think that's a big thing. I mean, I could think of one coach I had in high school was a great guy, but he'd be like that guy, like, like that coach that like just kind of let everybody do what they want. And then like one day would just snap off. And that none of the kids have respect for him at that point because there's never been any boundaries set.
Yeah.
When you set the boundaries and, you have a relationship with them, but hey, there's a professional relationship and the personal side of things, like there's still accountability and boundaries. And I think like what you're saying, Haley, like, can they do that as much? Maybe not because I feel like now, like at the end of the day, like people's feelings get hurt like very easily. And then their parents jump in and it's we're in a much different culture now. Like, I mean, and Coach Coy, maybe you haven't had this that much, but like, I mean, you see the stuff on the internet that happens, like these videos and stuff. Like, some of these parents are absolutely nuts. Like, they will fly off the handle. Like, and to be honest, like what you're saying, Haley, like, yeah, some of these coaches are probably scared to actually do their job, and they could probably be a lot more successful with their kids, but they're afraid that, well, if I do this, who's coming after me? Parents, administration, all that. So, I mean, that's kind of one of those rabbit holes, I think.
Yeah, like there's a lot of people that say that like kids have changed. I would say I don't think kids have changed that much. I mean, maybe a little bit. I think it's more, I don't know if I should say this or not, but I haven't had any like parent issues, but I think it's more parents have changed more than the kids have changed
100%.
in certain aspects. So
I can see that.
I mean, like middle school, I coached 7th and 8th grade basketball, and every year I've coached, those kids they're different kids, but like they're almost the same. You know what I mean? Like they're middle school kids. They're going to be immature. They're going to maybe say something they shouldn't say, but you're still holding them accountable. They're still working hard. They're still doing things we're asking them to do for the most part, So like, I don't know. I think it's one of those things too. So, yeah. And whoever Christina Haglock Stinda, she agrees with me. So
She said, "Kids haven't changed. The parents have changed. They get butthurt." Oh, I mean, hey, I mean, I mean, is it?
100%.
I mean, what do you think? I mean, honestly, like, because we're all kind of a part of the same era. Like, if you think about, like, when we all played, we were in that era where like social media was just barely coming around. You didn't have I mean, and it was like if you had a problem, you had to go. You know, it's kind of like if you had a problem with your teammate.
Oh,
Now,
yeah.
how bad is it now where parents are like emailing a coach or calling a coach about, you know, or
Oh my gosh. My parents would never do that.
that's what
Ever.
I'm saying. That's crazy.
They'd be like, figure it out. Try harder.
And I mean,
Yes.
I think back to like when I played, you'd have like maybe one or two kids that would like quit or like maybe not go out the next year.
Mhm.
But now it's like it's happening all, the kids just aren't going out for things, and some kids are quitting like in the middle of seasons, and like that just, I don't know. I just feel like that didn't happen as often as it is now. And like part of it was like I've grown up, my parents would be like, if you start something, you're finishing it, like there's no, if you want to do this, it's fine. We'll support it. But if you're in the middle of the year, you don't like it, you have to finish it, and I never, everything that I did, I usually liked, so I didn't have that issue. But now it's just kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, you didn't like how that practice was ran, you can quit, or, like, I don't know. So I'm not going to get too far into that.
Yeah.
Gotta be careful there. But
I remember we had a coach that he literally would try to make girls quit. This was like 7th grade basketball.
I know exactly who you're talking about before you even said that.
7th grade basketball.
Yeah.
Darren Schrader was our coach. He was great. Loved him. But he would literally make us run sprints like the whole practice, because when you're in 7th grade, like 50 girls go out.
Sure.
Yeah.
He was literally, we would have to run sprints, and you just see them like drop like flies. See ya. Not going to be here tomorrow.
Weed them out that's good. That's a good way to weed them out, isn't it?
That's one way to do it.
Yeah. I didn't. It was awful.
Yeah, just run. You won't want to come back. Yeah. Yeah, man, I could, like I said, now, I don't know. I think, when I think about like now, like even like talking to parents, I really do. I agree. I do think that like it is the Coach Coy, you said it, the kids haven't changed. They haven't. It is really the flip side has been the parents. It's not knocking parents for parenting, but here's the thing. And it's probably easier said than done because you guys both have kids, right? But you guys are two people that went through that era, and the accountability, you're probably going to hold your kids pretty accountable for everything that they do. It's probably easier said than done to be like, well, if my kid that, no way, until you have kids. But that is the issue that we face right now in today, right now, is how easy, and these parents are willing to shift the blame to somebody else. Your kid's 15, 16, your kid is 15, 16, knows right and wrong. They know what they're supposed to do, all these things. But when their kid gets called out or something happens they don't like, what are the parents? They're always really willing to shift the blame somewhere else. And I feel like that's why we have the issue that we have going on, not just with sports, but like society as a whole, because there is no accountability. Well, it's somebody else's fault.
Yeah, like, I would agree with you on that for sure.
It's easy to blame somebody else and not hold yourself or someone else accountable.
Sure.
Know? So that's why it happens a lot. But yeah, you just gotta keep plugging away, holding control what you can control, right?
Just make them, if they're not doing with it, just make them run home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pull a Rob Pulse.
Oh yeah, pull the Rob Pulse.
Yeah. Oh, that's honestly, I could never have thought of him doing that, but that's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he came in the weight room the other day when I was lifting, and he's like, "Hey, you gotta ask her that question." I was like, "All right."
Oh yeah. Oh, he'd call me out too. I remember we'd be doing like pitching lessons because I would have a pitching coach, Kelsey. She was the best. And I remember she'd tell me something, and she'd stand like behind me and I'd walk up to the mound and I'd like roll my eyes. My dad would call me out. He'd be like, "Why'd you just roll your eyes at her?" Oh, I'm like, seriously?
He's holding you
Half
accountable.
the time I didn't even know I was doing it. It was just automatic.
Sure. Yeah, you don't catch. Yeah, you don't know it, right?
He's
That's
doing what we just talked about. He's holding you accountable. And
I know.
Like, damn it, God, why do they do that? Oh, I love it. I just got one more question, then Coach Coy, you'll have yours, and then we'll roll into some topics.
I've already asked all mine, honestly.
Okay.
So yeah.
The only last one for you, Haley, just sports in general. High school, you can do high school and college, both one or the other. I don't care. Give us your favorite moment of being an athlete.
My favorite moment. Oh gosh, that's tough. Probably like I'd probably say state volleyball for sure. I mean, that whole like road to state volleyball was a lot of fun. And then I think just like being able to say that I played at the collegiate level, I think, not a lot of kids get to do that. No. So yeah, I think even though it wasn't like the experience I hoped for, like I'm still glad I got to do it.
Sure. And you played 2 years? Did you do 2 years there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, like I said, at least you did it, stuck it out. I mean, you probably easily could have been like after a year, like, yeah, I'm not doing this anymore.
Oh yeah. I mean, I wanted to leave, but it was free. I was on there for a full ride.
Sure.
I mean,
yeah. You don't pass that up. No.
You
don't want them student loans. Oop.
Yeah, right.
Suffer for the 2 years, and then, hey, man, you got a zero balance. Just take it while you can.
Yeah.
I guess I do have a question, Stenda, for Haley. So Stenda asked you your favorite sports moment, or right there. Think of a bad moment or one of your worst time, like, and then not that you have just how did you handle that moment, like that adversity or that hard time, and how did you recover? What'd you learn from it?
I cried. That's what I did. No, I can remember it was in college. It was softball, and we would practice like in the winter. We would practice on this like hard track, like an indoor track. It was hard, and oh my gosh, she would hit the balls at us so hard. And I remember she like had hit the ball and I missed it, and she said something, and I like just snapped back at her, and then it was just not good. She was yelling at me, and I think I just and I literally started to cry, and that was like the worst thing you could do, like for her, like you don't let it show, you don't like let it out, and that was so I don't know that I handled it very well. I don't really know what I learned from it, but that was literally one of the worst times that I had.
You learned not to cry.
What?
You learned not to cry next time.
I learned not to cry. Now, I will say, since becoming a mom, that's all I do is cry. You're so much more sensitive when you're a mom.
Mom, or even, I'm sure mom, definitely mom, dad, for sure. I mean, once you have kids, that's probably a game changer.
Yeah. It's the best thing.
I don't know if I'm more sensitive or not, but I don't know.
I totally am.
It is. I do see Facebook a lot, like people I knew back in the, day, and they have kids married now. I'm like, the stuff they post, I'm like, oh my God, I never would have thought. Like what you're saying, Haley, like, oh my God, my 5-year-old now, he's 6, and they're like, oh my God. And I'm like, I don't have kids, but I'm like, and then I think about it, I'm like, God damn, you know what? They're just watching them grow up so fast, and you stand with them. Yeah.
I heard something the other day that they said, like, your kids, like, you mostly know them as adults. Like, you only know them as little kids for a short period of time. And I'm like, just like started crying. It was like a river. I'm like, oh my gosh, why did I read that? That was terrible. Because like we're in the thick of it right now. We have a 2.5-year-old and an 8-month-old, and I'm like, one day it's not going to be like this, you know? It's like, oh, you got
It
to
goes by
cherish it.
fast.
I
Goes
know.
by fast. I already
It
got
does.
10-year-old.
Oh,
You getting old, dog.
I'll be
Coach,
40 in 3 months. So
Damn.
I'm getting old.
Haley, what are you, 32?
not yet. I'm going to be 32.
Oh, gonna go.
February.
My bad. Gonna be 32. Okay.
Yes, in February.
You're
I
still
like
young.
to talk about it.
Age is just a number. It's all
That's
good.
right. That's right, man.
It makes my back hurt thinking about it.
You wait. I always said once I hit
Same.
30, I was like, it's all downhill from there.
Oh yeah.
I'll let you guys know what 40 feels like in a couple months.
Yeah, dude, you'll have to let us, man. Let us know. I want the details. Heads up on it.
Stinda, should we read some of the comments since we got some
Oh
on here?
no.
Oh yeah, there's if you want to
not-
go to it.
Lindsay, I'm not gonna say this last name right.
Giro with a G.
Giro.
Yep.
Yeah, that's my sister-in-law.
She said it's only family, don't get too excited. That was at the very beginning. So, Brian Hamilton, Steelers are trash. Brent Carstensen, he said there's actually in Iowa had a rule about doing organized travel during the school season, but it seems to not be followed. He's like, if he remembers right, it's a form that shows the coach and school administration approves. Lindsay then said, poor Hattie. Stinda, or Tanner Weber says, can't believe you're wearing that today, Stinda. The dad tone. And then we already saw the comments about the kids have changed or haven't changed and parents have type thing.
Yeah.
Tanner Weber said Kane on the sideline next fall for me. Being old. Thanks, Tanner.
Wow. Yeah, you're gonna need it.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Oh my God. Love it. All right. We got a topic here.
What we get into?
So Haley, me and Coach Quid have hit on this, I think maybe once, but not like too in depth, but Caitlin Clark. So
who's that?
What's that?
Cece.
I said, who's that?
Oh,
I'm joking. I'm joking. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're good. I think Haley likes before we get into it, I think she likes Angel Reese more than Caitlin Clark. But we'll talk. Oh no. So, okay. We can't deny she's obviously changed the game. Viewers, ticket sales, merchandise, jerseys, ratings, all that stuff. We know that. Here's my first question to both of you. Okay, is it actually changing for the long haul? Like, the promotion of, female sports, she's changing the game, or is it just temporarily to where it's going to go back down to like, yeah, she gets the spotlight for a while. She's doing tremendous things for female athletics. But do you think, is it actually changing for the better long haul, or is it just going to be temporarily and then we're back to the same boat we were in?
I mean, I think it's changing for the long haul. I mean, I feel like you see it not just in like women's basketball and like, women's college and the WNBA. I feel like you see it in all of women's sports. Like, I think back to just this fall with like college volleyball or even like college softball. Like, I feel like it's just changing as a whole, and they're just going to keep going up. Sure. Honestly.
Yeah. I mean, I hope it does.
I hope so too. I hope it stays.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
It needs to. What do you think, Coach Coy?
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, I think for the next like 5 years, it's probably going to be very similar. But I think it's like a lot of other things. Like, honestly, like Caitlin Clark obviously is a freak basketball player and is really good. But it's like when, you get the shiny new toy type thing, it's kind of what she is in the WNBA. And she's going to keep doing her thing. But eventually, I don't know if people are going to be as like, wowed by it. It's kind of like, you look at like Steph Curry, when he first like came in, he, making all those threes, doing all that stuff. And you're like, holy cow, I can't believe how good of a shooter this guy is. That's everyone talked about how good he's the best shooter ever. and he's still playing, and he's still making a bunch of threes and playing well, but nobody really talks about Steph Curry anymore. You know what I mean? So like, I think it'll be longer, maybe 5 years, but I don't know. I don't know if you can say temporary or not, honestly, but she definitely has changed the whole landscape of women's sports and definitely women's basketball. So,
Oh yeah. I'm just gonna say I was at the game when they played Michigan and she broke the record. I was at that game.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And I was like super pregnant too.
Oh yeah.
Oh, but it was awesome. Oh my gosh. It was electric. It was the best. Like I will never forget that.
Sure.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Well, it should be like, I think some of the stuff I have here, like kind of diving into it, but like, Haley, when we were talking yesterday a little bit beforehand, like the promotion of female sports,
Mhm.
and I feel like, that's kind of my next question, but just general topic for us. Like how do we get it to where I don't think it'll ever be, they won't promote it like they do men's for whatever reason. It's never going to be at that level, but how do you get it to where it is like, because I feel like the Caitlin Clark stuff, you're like, now it's kind of like it's the off season for them, right? Like they're not playing right now.
Mhm.
So, but you hear, like I said, it just dies off. But you always hear about men's, and like men's sports great, but honestly, like if you watch like female competition, like it's just as good as men's, if not better, and in different aspects. But like women, like like the Caitlin Clark and the Angel Reese saga deal, or when Angel Reese, which again, I get her antics maybe weren't the greatest, but in men's, guess what? We watched, if you guys remember, like Dennis Rodman, Ron Artest, those guys. People loved that, right? That was great. Oh man, money and viewers and everything. This is awesome. But when a woman talks smack, they're not supposed to do it. That's not ladylike. Like that's the sportsmanship. I'm like, what are you talking about? I love seeing that. Like, that's my point. Like I feel like it's like women are just looked. It's different in sports. Like, oh, ladylike. What do you mean? Women are just as passionate about sports and life as men are. Like, but if men, Ron Artest runs up in the stands and beats somebody up, literally. We watched the fight on national television 20 years ago. You imagine if Angel Reese and these girls get into a little shovey match and people are posting all this stuff on social media. It's terrible sportsmanship. You get what I'm saying? Like that's the issue I have with it.
Yeah. And I'll take it back to like high school even for just a second. I can remember it being like that even in high school because I remember in basketball, like the girls would play first and then the boys would play right after us. I can't remember if it was the same refs or not, so don't quote me on that. But we were totally reffed differently than the guys were. Like the guys could like be a little bit more rough and tough, but like we could not do that. And like looking back, it was like, well, dang, why? I mean, I'll shove someone, So like, yeah, that I get what you're saying for sure.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, Coy, what do you think? I mean, I just don't. I hate it. Like that's why, like, I just feel like men get this. It's like, oh, it's men are supposed to be. Well, I mean, you want everybody to be tough, right? Physically, mentally, like. But sports, like, I love the Angel. I'm sorry, like, I know she pissed a lot of people off. I love it. Like I said, we watched guys like Dennis Rodman kick a cameraman in his private areas, and people loved it. And we're talking about women talking some smack and flashing their hands and maybe shove them. Like it to me, it's just like I love seeing that. I want to watch that more because they're, at the end of the day, it's entertainment, and I think you can say that that's part of the game. And then when the game's over, it's all love for all of them afterwards. They don't hate each other. That's just part of being competitive. So
I feel like Angel Reese kind of hates Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, maybe she does.
I feel like she is so jealous of her. Like I think she tries to tell people that she likes her. And I think she hates her, honestly.
Yeah, she probably doesn't like her, but Angel Reese is doing okay for herself too, though. I mean,
100%.
She's I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it is kind of like a double-edged sword with that whole thing because you kind of hit it right, Stinda. Like when women do it, everyone's like, "Ah, look how she's acting. Like, why is she acting like that?" But then you know, like a guy does the same thing. You're like, oh, he's just competitive, or hey, you know, that he wants to win, or he's trash talking. It's just competitive juices, you know, something like that. But yeah, it is kind of a double standard to a little bit, but I think it's kind of getting more accepting of that than what it used to be, honestly. So that's a good thing, and hopefully it continues.
Sure. Yeah, I hope they do, because I mean, I love seeing like trash talk, and hey, you get, you know, I mean, Haley, did you ever like in some of your sport? You probably did a little bit of trash talking, didn't you? Or did you not?
No, I don't think I ever was trash talking. I mean, I can remember. No, I never did that. But I mean, I'd elbow you right in the gut if you're in, under the hoop.
Yeah. Hey, you get that shot. Hey, sometimes you got to get that shot in, right?
Yeah. But, you know, again, like we weren't really allowed to do, and not that you really trash talk a lot in basketball, but kind of like I was saying, you know, you could be John or whatever. And even at a ref, like you didn't like the call, like we could never do that. Like I remember I mouthed back to a ref one time and he's like, you better stop or I'm going to tee you up.
Oh God.
Yeah. And it was like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I just told you that wasn't a foul. But like you couldn't even do that.
It's different now. That's for sure.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You see them just really going at them. It's like, holy crap.
Well, I think the NBA and even the WNBA is probably the worst as far as professional sports and yelling and saying stuff to the refs. But even some high school games I've been to, and you know, they let them get away with some stuff that they used to would not get away with, type thing. But although I was at the basketball game last Thursday, and the officiating crew, like stepped in right away. You know, when kids make threes nowadays, they have to like do all these three signs, you know, and everything. One kid, like the kid from Prince of Peace, did it toward our student section, and the ref stopped the game, and that's a warning. You're not doing that. I'm like, oh, all right, this guy's not messing around here. So there is that, but
oh man, that's great. Yeah.
I don't mind doing that stuff though. I mean, part of the game. I'm excited.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think like, you know, would you guys agree though? I mean, even sports, whether it's collegiate level, division, you know, D3, D2, D1, you go to professional, it really is now, if you think since the NIL money's come in, what is it? It's entertainment. That's what it is. I mean, it's still athletics, but it's entertainment. And I think people would love, like when I go back to like the Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, WNBA, women's sports, I'm like, it's always been entertainment. It's just never been accepted on both sides. And now it's transitioning there, but it's like people want it. They don't want to just watch a boring game. You know, they don't want to watch like where they don't blow the whistle. You know, it's like, oh, it's a clean game. Oh, what a good game. Good sportsmanship. Well, you don't watch sports for that. Like, so I'd love to, like, I hate to say this, but like a Ron Artest back in the day when they fought, I'd love to see a women's basketball game and somebody does that and a woman goes up in the stands. I'd love it. But what would be the response from the media and everybody else? Like a lot of these people.
There was that fight. Was it last year with LSU and South Carolina?
Oh yeah,
fight. Yeah, and
the guy from the stands jumped out.
It was a brother, one of the girls. He jumped out of the stands. Yeah,
I remember that now. Yeah,
and they talked about that for a while on sports shows and stuff like that. But
yeah, and they
they even like benched some or not. They like
they got suspended.
Fine them, but they had to like sit out.
Yeah. A lot of them did, because I remember those South Carolina, the next game they only had like 6 girls or something.
Yeah, and it was like tournament time too.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But
hey, man, like I said, with that NIL money now, that's a game changer for college. Do you think?
Yeah, for sure. It's messing a lot of things up, I think.
Oh, it's terrible.
But
it's awful. That like. I wish they could regulate it. I don't even know if they could regulate it now. They just kind of let it full force. Here you go. I don't know if you can really take it back.
Yeah, I think they did make a mistake in not doing that to start. Like I
Mm-hmm.
mean, because then obviously you have, I don't know, obviously the North Carolinas, the Dukes, the Alabamas. If you're talking football, they can give pretty much whatever they want. I mean, you look
Oh
at
yeah.
the Proctor, Caden Proctor,
Yeah.
who that lineman that went to Alabama, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
come back, go to Iowa," and then Alabama's like, "Hey, we'll give you
Yeah.
$3 million to come back." He's like, "Okay," like obviously a
Mm-hmm.
20-year-old kid's gonna take that deal, so
Mm-hmm. Or even just the whole like transfer portal thing,
yeah,
like that's a little, out of control too.
Yeah,
I don't like how they're, I'm just gonna leave. It's like, okay, didn't you choose to come here for a reason?
sure. Yeah, I agree with
yeah.
that.
I mean, the only time I understand it is if like you get recruited by a coach and that coach leaves or goes to a different school.
Yeah, sure.
I can see that, but I mean, now it's just like, oh yeah, don't like it here. I'm gonna go there.
Yeah. It's like,
The portal, man.
Yeah,
What do you
it's
like,
crazy.
Kaylee? You said like regulating it. Where you mean like talking like money? Like,
yeah, just like, yeah. Yeah. The whole thing. It's just, yeah, it's out of
you think they should
control.
put like a cap, like say like you're being recruited, right? Let's just say you're being recruited out of high school. You're a 5-star recruit for whatever. Should there be like like there's just a cap, like this is all you can give them?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Something. Yeah.
250 grand. You're already getting your college paid for.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the thing. They're already getting these full rides. So
Yeah,
they're gonna have no student loan debt. And then they're like bazillionaires on top of that. Just, it's
yeah,
like
yeah. I
when this
think
originally started, like I honestly thought it was just gonna be like, oh, this player's really popular. They're gonna get money because I'm buying their jersey. Like
yep,
I did not think it was gonna be as big as it is.
sure.
oh, it's
Like,
well, yeah. And then there's even I can't even remember where the kid was from or what school he's at, but then they said they were going to give him a certain amount of money and then never gave him the money. They didn't have the money for him, so that's happening too. So it's just crazy. That's why I agree there should be some type of cap or regulation or football teams. You get this much money, basketball gets that much, or whatever. So
Yeah,
well, and like I think about like some of these like college coaches who like they don't know how to like coach kids that are, these kids that are kind of like think they're entitled to all of this. And how do you coach someone who, you know, thinks you owe them everything and they owe you nothing type of thing.
yeah,
that's a good
Like
point
I don't know,
because
like I think about like Kirk Ferentz. I love Kirk Ferentz, so don't come at me in the comments. I love him. I'm a ride or die Kirk Ferentz fan. But like I think about him who's like coached literally forever and this is new. It's like this has to be like so hard for some of them.
yeah.
Like they don't know how
yeah.
to know what to do or yeah.
Oh, it's definitely a different time for sure.
Yeah.
Well, when you start like again, like you're paying them for the player you're projecting them to be, and they haven't even proved them. So you come out of high school, you look great in high school, right? Wherever you play, whatever state. But when you know this, Haley, playing college, it's a different ball game. And in
Oh
college,
yeah.
regardless of whatever level you're at, it's a game changer, and you have to prove yourself. They're paying given like you said, this NIL money. So say this kid gets $3 million and he goes there in the first year and he's terrible. And then but he's got that money because he signed whatever contract deal. He's got the money.
Mhm.
He didn't even have to prove them. He or she didn't have to prove themselves, and they just get the money for, like you're saying, like a guy like Ferentz who's not used to that is like, hey, like you got to
Yeah.
come in here and earn your spot, and now you don't even have to earn it. You're getting paid before you even play.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, and I think the transfer portal has hurt like high school recruits a lot too, because a lot of these coaches are going in the portal to get guys before they're getting high school guys, So I mean, I'm an Illinois basketball
Yeah,
and
that's a good
football
point. I
fan.
didn't think about
In
that.
Illinois, the last 3 years, Illinois basketball has benefited benefited greatly off of the transfer portal, and they do have some nice young freshman basketball players too. But yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for the portal, they wouldn't be as good as they are right now. So, and I think that hurts high school kids because then you don't know which guy they're going to get out of the portal, and it's probably going to be better than the high school kid in a lot of cases, So
Absolutely.
it's crazy, but
yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I could talk about that forever. Jeez.
Oh yeah,
good Lord.
Should we go into tier talk, Stenda, since we're almost at an hour and a half here?
Yeah, let's do
school night.
Let's do the tier talk, and then let's do yeah, and then we'll have one more thing. Yeah, let's do the tier talk first. So that's a good one.
All
right, Haley. Now, did you kind of come up with your list here?
Kinda.
Okay. So now I put on here your top 3 favorite female athletes. Okay. Doesn't mean they have to be the greatest. You know what I mean? Like in their, none of that. Just you watching them growing up. Your top 3, you're going to rank them, and then you're going to go through, just give us a little rundown, and then we'll come up with hopefully a nice word for your list, which is always nice. Mm-hmm. So, do you want to go first? You want Coach Coyd, or do you already have your list? If you're ready, we'll put you
I can go first. There, I got 3. Yeah. I hope you guys know them. You might know the first one. All right. The first one, Jenny Finch.
Oh, good guy. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Nice.
Okay. Quick little tidbit about this. Sorry. She came out with this pink and black softball glove, and I got the softball glove, and it was the best thing. And I used that glove literally until the ball fell out of the back. I had that sucker taped. Oh, it was my favorite glove. I never wanted another glove until she couldn't be taped anymore.
Nice.
She was done.
It was great. Okay, you ready for number 2?
Number 2, give it to us.
Kat Osterman.
Yeah.
Okay, you got right? Who is she?
Texas softball pitcher, right?
Yeah, Texas softball pitcher.
Okay.
Yep. They're all softball.
Okay. All right.
All good.
I'm for it. Yes.
And my third, Monica Abbott. She was a pitcher for Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
When did she play? What years?
Oh,
I know.
I don't know.
Let me look her up.
She would have been. She would have been after Finch. Way after.
She was after Finch, but I think her and Kat might have been around the same.
Close, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Kat Osterman was a lefty, right?
Yeah, she was.
Yeah, I remember her.
So was Monica Abbott. They both were.
Okay, she was lefty too.
Yeah, you should look up how she used to pitch, Monica Abbott. It was wonky.
Oh, the lefty.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I'm looking at her right now because I'm looking at some of her stats, and I'm like, oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
What a stud. Well, I forgot about you were a pitcher.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I like Jenny Finch at number. I just don't think you can. Jenny Finch, God, she was what a dog.
Oh, I also have a cardboard cutout of her that is still at my mom and dad's. I got her at a softball tournament. The guy, it was one of those things you could buy gloves or bats at a tournament, and he had a cardboard cutout. And I remember after I was like, can I have that? He's like, yeah, sure. Yeah,
oh,
she's still in mom and dad's basement. We call her the bartender.
That's awesome. Oh, love it. Coach,
that's a solid list. Solid. I'll give that a solid. Those are good name drops too. And one of those is on my list. So
yes.
I got one on that list. I'm saying respectable.
Yeah.
I give that. I like to keep it. I don't want to go to your head. You know what I'm saying? So I try to not, you get what I'm saying? I mean, I figured you were going to go I figured you were going to, honestly though, you were going to throw in a basketball player.
Well, I mean, I wasn't going to go obvious and be like Kayla Clark.
Yeah, I thought.
I mean, I love
Clark
her,
was going to be one of yours.
I like for the obvious.
Jenny Finch for the win. Yes.
All right, Stendo, you got your list?
I'll go.
All
All right. I'm going to go reverse order here. So, all right, I'm going to hit you first. Number 3, Lisa Leslie.
Yeah.
Remember? Yeah, baller. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
She was, I remember some of the stats: 17 points per game, 9 rebounds, 2 assists. She had 3 MVPs, 2 times, finals MVP, 8-time All-Star, 12-time all WNBA team, defensive player of the year. She was 6'5", 170. And if you remember, the first female to dunk in a game.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was like in early 2000s, right? When she did that, I'm pretty sure.
She was 97 to 09. I'm not sure the year that she dunked, but I remember whenever the WNBA came out, I'm like, oh, this is great because I love the Bulls. And whenever they were on and she was playing, dude, she's a dog. She could ball. So Lisa's my number 3. My number 2, and I wasn't a big tennis guy, but again, growing up in my era, she was always on TV and you watch her and it was like, I've never seen anybody like her power and speed, Serena Williams.
Yeah.
Her?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Serena. I mean, she has I think some of the stats here. Well, number 1, look at this. Her net worth of money is $300 million. That's her net worth today. So if that doesn't tell you how big she was, to me, she kind of revolutionized female sport. When she came in the mid 90s, and she played for a long time. 73 career titles, 5th overall in rankings on the Olympics. And again, I had never seen anybody that had that much power and speed because she was big built and oh my God, so that's my number 2. And then number 1, Haley, Jenny Finch. Loved her. I mean, you could not that was right in my era. I was in middle school getting there and I was like, she was always on TV. But here's the thing about her stats. And I pulled these up. Haley, you'll appreciate this. So I did high school, college, and then her professional career. In high school, she had a 0.15 ERA in high school. Okay. 50 and 12, 784 strikeouts and 445 innings. Okay. She goes to the Wildcats. In college, she's 119 and 16, 113 complete games, 876 innings, 1,028 Ks, and she had a 1.08 ERA her entire career there. Just a little over 1. The Olympics, 38 and 2 with a 0.39 ERA in the Olympics. The Bandits, professionally, she was 35 and 8 with a 1.1 ERA. And also she was a 301 hitter, respect again, that's pretty good, but here are some of the crazy stats with her in college. So she had 13 no-hitters in high school and 6 perfect games. She had 8 no-hitters in college with 2 perfect games, and she threw 2 perfect games with the Chicago Bandits.
It's wild.
I know. She's amazing. They don't make them like that anymore.
Do you think here's my question for her. Do you think she's the greatest softball pitcher of all time?
Oh,
I say yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No one's going to be better.
Didn't she win 51 games in a row or something like that? College.
51
consecutive.
Yeah. It was stupid.
That's crazy.
How do you literally do that? How do you throw 2 perfect games professionally? It's almost I'm not going to throw any no hitters. Her stats on 1-hitters was stupid. I didn't even want to put it down because I'm like, she could have had 100, 200 no hitters, but she had all these 1-hitters. And I'm always like, did they bunt or something just to break it up? Something crazy. Cause I'm like, how do you do that? But wow, what a total domination. So
that was before they changed, obviously they recently changed the rules, with pitching, you can take a step back now. You're there's all this stuff you can do now that you never used to be able to do. Sure. I feel like that gives people a little bit more of an advantage, but
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dog.
she's a stud.
Yeah.
You should look up the video of her pitching to Albert Pujols.
I did see.
I've seen that before.
Oh, isn't
Yeah.
that amazing?
Yeah.
And how hard was she throwing? Like
well, she was pitching from 43. She was probably throwing 70 miles an hour from 43 feet.
That's insane.
Oh yeah.
That's ridiculous.
That's coming at you quick.
Oh yeah, and like it moves so much different than a baseball.
Yeah.
The movement is just insane.
My God.
Yeah.
Yep. Probably not. I'm not getting in the batter's box.
A little
So
different. Yeah.
no, not happening. Imagine if she got pissed off and she's like, I'm going to run this one in up on you. I'm backing you off the plate. I would never step in the batter's box again.
Yeah. I wouldn't be able to touch that.
No.
Yeah, that's my list. That's my
my word for your list is copycat.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
And since mine was only respectable, I'm going to say yours is decent.
Oh no,
Yes.
I think respectable is better than decent. Jesus, I get the copy. Oh man.
Yeah, because my list is very similar to your list, Stenda.
All right, well, what do
We
you
do this all the time when we do these tier talks. We don't talk about them beforehand. We just come up with the topic, and we always have similar lists. It's weird.
Haley, I bet you every episode we've had, his and our list, they're almost identical, and we never talk about it. Never.
That's awesome, though.
We've
That's
done
cool.
30. This is the 32nd episode, and I think there's only been 2, maybe 3 episodes where we've had completely different lists.
Yeah.
Every other list, we've had at least 1 or 2 or all 3.
So maybe I'm not as big as an idiot as
Or we're both idiots.
Let's not stretch it.
I know.
I'm kidding.
It's okay. You're right.
I'm joking. I'm just joking.
You're not joking. It's okay. Don't worry.
No.
Right. I'll do my list because I also always do an honorable mention, so that's why there's usually one different. But so my honorable mention, and this is weird because I don't like soccer at all, and Mia Hamm is on my list.
I forgot about
because she was like one of the first like female athletes I ever like followed, or like paid attention to, which I still to this day don't know why. And then she married Nomar Garcia Parra, and I was a Nomar Garcia Parra fan. And so then that made me like her more. I don't know. It was weird. So Mia Hamm's my honorable mention, and that's the only reason why. My number 3 is, and I don't know if Haley she might know this name, but Jackie Joyner Kersey, track star. She won a bunch of gold medals in the Olympics, like in the 90s. And that was when I just have a fascination for watching like really fast people run on a track. I don't know why. Just think it's really cool. And I was like 11-ish, 12 years old. And that's when I first, really started getting into like the Olympics and all that. And I just remember her running all over the track and winning gold medals for the USA. And she also was a Division I college basketball player at UCLA. So she was just a stud. My number 2 is Lisa Leslie. So same as Stenda.
Yeah, baby.
Obviously, one of the main reasons was she's the first one to dunk. And then ever since then, I always kind of followed her and always wanted to see if she could dunk again and that kind of thing. And then my number 1, same as Haley and JP, is Jenny Finch.
Jenny.
Yeah.
And it's weird. Like I'm gonna be 100% honest. I'm not like a huge, and this is gonna make me sound sexist, but like I'm not a huge like women's sports. Like I don't sit and watch women's sports much. But like I remember watching like Jenny Finch pitch in college, and I would be like, oh, this is amazing how good she is, and I'd just like watch it. And then obviously Stenda read all those stats, so she's my number 1. That's my list.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, while you're on that, like back to watch him, like I think back when she was playing, like I thought about being, a baseball player. And I remember being that young age thinking, even if I wanted to be able to, going from baseball to softball and be like, okay, I'm a male, I play baseball. I knew I was like, I'd never be able to touch her. You would never be able to.
Yeah.
Like it was like that. And that Albert Pujols video just proves it. Like, and again, like where it's like, how amazing is that? Like that arm motion. I've tried doing like what you did, Haley, like before I did, and I'm always like, how do you guys do it? How can you, like,
oh my gosh,
impossible, but it's not, obviously.
Oh, it takes a long time. It takes a long time.
Like, my God. And to throw it that hard and that fast and be able to the movement and some of the pitches, like that's crazy.
Well, and if you think about it, like that's a more natural like motion for your arm than throwing a baseball.
Sure. Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, you see less injuries obviously with softball pitching than like baseball.
Well, yeah, you pretty much like your senior year, you pitched every game.
Yes.
Didn't you?
And I also did that my sophomore year of college. Well, my last year of college. I was pitching every game. Like I ended up like tearing my labrum that year. Like it was like our last game, and like I had like torn it that fall or something, and I like played the whole season with it, and it was like, okay, last game. You're having surgery the next day. See ya.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, it was nuts.
Yeah. Good Lord.
Well, they say that like softball, that motion's like more of a natural movement than like baseball pitching. So that's why you don't see as many injuries.
Yeah. But still, I mean, God, because like I'm trying to think, Haley, like when your senior year, like who was the girl from Preston? Was it Borman?
Yeah, Kelsey Borman. Yeah.
Dude, I remember her. Didn't we play her at home at Camanche? I think I'm
sure we kicked the shit out of us.
I remember one time.
She was so good. I don't remember where because she went to play college softball too, and I don't remember where. I'd have to look. But yeah,
I remember walking one time when you guys were coming out to bat. I don't think you were up, but I was going from third over to first, and I waited, and she went to throw one, and everyone said, she threw smoke, and she threw a ball, and like it just kept rising, like whatever hits the backstop. I thought if somebody would have got hit by that, they're dead, like they're dead. And like I like look at her and like she they're like throwing the ball back, and I'm like, I remember going like, how the fuck did she throw it that fast? I'm like, oh my God.
She was so good. She was so good.
Man. Like I said, kudos to you guys. I don't know how you guys can do it. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, good God. But hey, Coy, your list, I'm gonna give you okay. That's my word.
Okay.
I think your list is great.
I had two.
Oh no! Wow. He gets a great.
You can't give me an okay because I had two of the three that you had.
You called me a copycat.
Yeah, you were.
Like you think like I stole from you. Whatever, man. See, this is what I'm saying. I always get singled out, but you know what? It's fine.
Oh,
I should have went first.
I know.
I should have went first.
All right. What's your word, Haley? Are you going to go with great?
She said great.
Oh, God. Yeah, because you guys are both Comanches. Coach.
Well, I'm not from Camanche.
Oh my gosh. So people where I live by Riverside, when I was first when I was first dating my now husband, and they would, well, where are you from? I'd say Camanche. There are still people here. They literally call me Camanche. How you doing, Camanche? Hey, Camanche. It's like
Camanche down by the river, huh?
Yeah.
It is when you come into town. Down by the river.
Would Riverside would that be Mid Prairie School District?
So where we live, yes, we are Mid Prairie. Okay. My husband went to Mid Prairie, but like literally not even a half a mile down the road is Highland.
Okay.
So, and they're like a really small school. They're like a 1A, I think.
Yep.
But yeah, now Mid Prairie's in the same conference as Camanche.
They are, yeah.
Mid Prairie.
Which is
Camanche
Wellman,
basketball.
Kelowna.
Yeah.
Oh, Kelowna.
Amish area too.
Country, baby.
Yeah, yes, they are all over the place.
I do have two more. I just have one for Haley, and then I have one for both of you guys. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So my one for you, Haley, is if she's watching, Kelsey Berg. Well, I can't think what's her married name now. Okay.
Mushman.
There it is. If you're listening, Kelsey, I'm asking Haley this. Haley, do you think we'll put you in your prime pitching and Kelsey in her prime batting? You gonna K her? You gonna get her out?
I don't know. I've never seen her hit before.
She says she told me before, like she's really good. I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, I'd have to see her swing and then know what to throw. No, I don't know.
In your prime, though, just say, hey, you're both in your prime. Hey, man, you at least gonna get her out?
Well, yeah, I'm gonna go with me. I'm gonna strike her out. Hello.
That's right. She said, oh, she just said, oh, hell no. Yeah, right. Dude, I think you would get her. I think you would at least get her to she'd hit some.
She would chase my changeup for sure. That thing was stinky.
Yeah, you definitely, like I said, I remember you did have the changeup. That's right.
Oh,
and
you
had a lot of strike. You struck out a lot of people too.
Yep.
You did. I mean, I'll give you that. You did. And I remember you hitting a dinger too at home. Didn't you hit a dinger?
No, I hit it at Lisbon.
Oh, was it at Lisbon?
Yeah. My one and only home run.
Hey.
Yes, it was.
One's better than zero.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. Kelsey says no. Oh, hell no. But I think she's just. She's full of shit. Yeah.
Definitely a homer.
Honestly, I think you'd strike her out in 3 pitches, to be honest with you. I'm just going to leave it at that.
That's funny.
All right. My last real question to both of you. Okay. I'm going to go. We'll end on Haley, but so we'll start with you, Coy. So if you could give one piece of advice to any athlete entering, whether it's, let's say, middle school age sports, high school, a new incoming athlete, what's the best piece of advice you would give to them to have a long, successful career or to be competitive, etc.?
Dang. Good question, Stinda. I'm trying to think because I don't know if I've ever actually done that. Maybe I've done it and didn't know that I've done it, but I guess my one piece would be make sure you're always coachable, be coachable. Like we were talking earlier, be accountable, show up to practices, that kind of thing, and just work as hard as you possibly can. And hard work a lot of times wins. So I guess those would be my pieces of advice there.
Yeah, that's respectable.
Thank you.
I had to use that one. That's all right. That's decent. That's all right. That's decent. All right. Haley, what about you?
Well, okay. I'm going to say I have 2 things.
Okay.
So the first one is, it might not be totally related to sports, but not everybody is going to like you. And that is totally okay. That's totally fine. You got to get over, not everyone's going to like you.
Sure.
And the second thing is, I'm going to kind of echo and be a copycat. Kind of off of what Coit said. You want to be coachable and all of that and hold yourself accountable. But at the end of the day, none of that stuff, all the awards, the winning, the losing, it doesn't matter. In the grand scheme of it all, it doesn't matter. It doesn't define the rest of your life. I look at myself now and it's yeah, I did great, but that doing that great stuff or not great did not help me get or lose a job or,
sure.
So don't be too hard on yourself when it comes to that stuff. Cause it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah. That's honestly, that's pretty spot on. I mean, I would say the same thing. Cause it isn't going to matter. It's not going to define your life. And, you know, it more so probably helps you deal with adversity and people like you're saying, not liking it. You got to learn to get along with people you don't like as teammates and respect each other, but you don't have to be friends. But yeah, I mean, the accolades and stuff mean nothing because at the end of the day, like everybody's all in the same boat trying to survive and just get by. And yeah, spot on
No doubt.
there. No doubt. Wow. Well, we covered some good stuff.
Yeah, that was good.
This was fun.
Yeah.
Well, hey, you come back anytime you want.
All right, you let me know. We can dive more into some softball stuff and yeah.
What we need to do, Coach Coit, is we need to get you, Haley, you and Kelsey on together.
Kelsey Berg?
Oh yeah, dude. I tried to ask her before. And she's like, oh, I don't know. I'm like, cause she thinks she knows sports, whatever. You guys would be fun to like getting it going.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yep.
I think that would be totally awesome for you guys to get, and maybe you already do, like get athletes from different schools, like all the way out here, Mid Prairie. That would be awesome.
Sure. Well, yeah, we've had some like around the area. I mean, honestly, we haven't had any Clinton kids.
No, we've stayed pretty Camanche. Like as far as like current athletes, they've all been Camanche athletes. And
then obviously if we could
former athletes too, yeah.
Yeah, if we could get, maybe some, if people wanted to, like we would all day. Like the hard part is like we're so small local that how many people watch. But if like word of mouth, if people wanted to, like if you got people that that would want it, like we'd take it all day, like, and we just kind of tailor it to the guest and the topics, and we're up for just about anything. So
heck yeah.
All right, you got anything else, Coach Coit?
Nope, I'm good.
Haley, do you have anything else?
No, this was great. Thanks for having me. Thanks for the opportunity. This was great.
Thanks for joining us.
I was slightly nervous like before. I was like, what are they going to ask me? I can be pretty honest. So I was afraid I was going to say something.
No, you kept it PG, but you don't have to keep it PG on here. So it really doesn't matter. So,
well, I don't know. I said a few cuss words. I might hear about that.
It happens.
You're a grown woman. What are they going to do? Put you in timeout or take your phone away?
Maybe. Actually, I totally didn't notice, and no one told me I have white trash gum. Should have figured that out before. I'm just sitting here chomping on it.
Dude, it's okay. I dip every episode, so I'm sure people are like, "What's he spitting into?" I'm like, "I don't care." Like, hey, here's what it is. It's dip, guys. Sorry, I'm of age. I can do it. You're not. Well, thanks for coming on. It was great having you. Great catching up. Coach Coit, what are we doing next week? Are we going live next week or no?
We will be off next week, but we'll be live the following week with a guest. 2 guests, actually.
Oh, 2.
They're all locked up. Yep.
Locked up. All right. Thanks for coming on, Haley. We appreciate you. If you guys got nothing else, we're going to sign off. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yep.
All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Bye.
See ya.
Hey, she jumped up.
Yep.
Oh, did I? Hold on. I don't think I ended the stream here.
Oh. Nope. We're still live.